This piece is called Untethered. The girl who has always lived on a boat still lives on a boat. Her mother still lives on a boat, and her father, and her siblings, and her teachers, and her doctor, and her neighbors, and her friends, and everyone, because everyone has always lived on boats. The boats are connected, as they have always been, by rope bridges. The boats connect in some fascinating floating city, bobbing up and down and up again, a synchronous bundle. My boat connects to yours, which connects to your mother's, which connects to the doctor's, which connects to the professor's, which connects to her daughter's, which once more connects back to mine. Some float around the periphery, anchored by one thin, wobbly bridge, weather-worn and old, and only occasionally do they venture across to slip onto the greengrocer's boat and buy some vegetables, or to the doctor's boat for their yearly checkup. But when they do, they stride across their creaky rope bridge and disembark on another boat and underscore their connection to the city of boats where everyone lives. The girl remembers the day they cut the first bridge. She wasn't there, of course. It was far, far away on the farthest edge of the city of boats where she had never even been before, but she still knew about it. She scampered up the mast of her ship as it tilted in the evening breeze and deposited herself in the crow's nest. The boat nearest hers called a loud trumpet, a broadcast tune that sang to her of the world, of danger, of invisible assailants creeping aboard a ship and killing whomever they found. The notes inform her of how they stole their clothes, and now these villains could be anyone. They could be your teacher, your neighbor, the barista 3 boats away. The worst part? Some of them would never know what they were, the potential they had to hurt the other denizens of the floating world. They cut the rope to cast off the invaders. They thought, naively, that they had cornered them all and could send them away to save everyone else. They were wrong. These invaders slipped across bridges, traipsed across decks, swung through rigging. It started off far away, over there, a problem for someone else's network of bridges, not mine. Because the people around the girl said this, they weren't ready when the assailants came for them. Slipping, creeping, and silent, they left a body count in their wake. No more could you see a friendly face and know that you'd be safe with them. More bridges cut, axes sawing at ropes, hands pushing back the screaming, crying masses, trying to scamper over the bridge before they were disconnected, pushed out onto the raging seas alone. Some people pulled the planks off the bridge where it was closest to their boat. For now, they said. We can repair them later, they said. The girl stayed no longer in her little boat with her dearest friend. The boat was to be disconnected, and so they parted ways, returning to the boats of their parents, the places they'd been raised in. There was no more dashing across bridges to make it to their classes. No, no. The classes were held on the screen in the control cabin of the boat. Their professor would sit in her control room, and each student in theirs, and they'd learn. But it wasn't quite the same. How could it be when there were miles of bridges between them, and miles of ocean, and infinite miles of fear and mistrust? The girl no longer went to stores. She couldn't. They had pulled up their planks, painted their sails to announce that they weren't open anymore and wouldn't be for a while. The people who had gone there each day for work were on their own boats now, and you could hear the echoes of them sobbing on the salty breeze as they told their children that no, they didn't have more food, that's all there is, and no, they can't buy more right now, they just can't. The girl's chest aches when she hears the children whine because her mother carefully treks out across the bridge every morning and evening and still brings home enough food because her mother helps with making boats, and you can't have a floating city of boats without the people that make the boats, even if the governor is beginning to consider it, but he's an idiot and all the local sailors know it. The girl is worried when she calls her sister, and her sister has no job and a baby, and they have to go back to her father's already crowded boat because at least there they can eat, and she is worried when she calls her friend, and he fears he may have been attacked but can't be certain, but is being tested anyway, and what will he do if he has been, and will she ever see him again? The world is ending, she's certain. Boats cast off onto the waves in scores, limp sliced sails dotting the horizon every day. People are spending more and more time on the decks of their ships, soaking in sunlight, waving at the people on bridges floating in the area. It's nice, some people think. It is, the girl agrees, but it is not the same. How can it be? Before there were hugs and handshakes and coming together to sing and laugh and learn, and now there is a tinny voice echoing from the control panel, trying to teach her something she can't be bothered to focus on anymore, and there are people she loves that are just too many broken bridges away, and there are ever more boats drifting off unattached and untethered from the floating world of boats where everyone has always lived. She lays in her hammock below deck every night. She stares at the ceiling and cannot find it in her to sleep, so instead she dreams. She dreams of running, of long bridges stretching out in every direction. She dreams her bridges so full of traffic that she has to weave in and out of lanes, brushing elbows and shoulders and knees with strangers and friends. She dreams of piling up on the floor of her best friend's boat, a kaleidoscope pile of limbs and smiles, as they come together to watch a movie or pretend to watch a movie and talk the whole time. She dreams of sailing out in a tiny rowboat, holding one end of an expansive bridge, dragging it slowly, oarstroke by oarstroke, out to the boats that have been sent off, and offering them tokens of peace, and offering them the help they couldn't get before, reattaching them, pulling them back in, rebuilding the city of boats where everyone lives. Morning comes again, and the girl sways in the crow's nest, and siren songs echoing off the nearby boats lure her deeper down into the depths of despair. Another day of cutting bridges, another day of distance and unsafety, another day where everyone wants to do something, but the people who can actually do something, who can eradicate the invisible pirates, are working so hard and not getting anywhere, and everyone else is getting mad with them, not because those pirate killers haven't solved it yet, but because everyone feels helpless and they need to be mad at someone. The girl sees a story she wrote weeks ago about her future, which type of boat she wanted, and how far from her parents, and which people would live on it with her, and which bridges she'd cross every day, and what kinds of work she'd do on what boats, and she cries. She throws the story overboard into the sea and watches as the pages fan out in the water. The future can't exist anymore, she tells herself. Not today. Not when we're cutting the bridges and cutting ourselves. How can I think about tomorrow when yesterday they cut 10 bridges just in my area? How can I think about tomorrow when today someone I love could be killed by a pirate? One by one, the boats drift off into an unwelcoming sunset. The city of boats is smaller now and colder. The boats still bob up and down and up again, and everyone still lives on the boats, but now some people are dying on the boats, and the bridges aren't there to connect the boats, but instead to keep them apart. The girl reaches over the edge of her boat, near where she drowned her future, leaning right over her bridge, and begins to pull up the planks.